with the coming of 9th edition, Know No Fear and Dark Imperium were taken off the Games Workshop web store. Now, because of this, there is no Death Guard Start Collecting set, meaning that the Lord of Contagion, Malignant Playcaster and Noxious Blightbringer cannot be bought from Games Workshop directly. And in addition, with the coming of the new Death Guard Codex in December, people have been speculating whether Death Guard will get a new Start Collecting set, because almost all armies in the game do currently have a Start Collecting set, and Death Guard only didn't get one when they were released because of Dark Imperium Know No Fear. So now that they are gone, it's highly likely that they will get a Start Collecting set. Now, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why they are going to get a Start Collecting set and what is likely in that Start Collecting set. Now, I personally think they are going to get a Start Collecting set because they are quite a popular army, probably the third or fourth most played army in all of Warhammer 40,000, so it would be quite stupid not to give them a Start Collecting set. And Thousand Sons, the Tzeentch counterpart to the Death Guard, do also have a starter set, and of course in the lore, the Death Guard are a very big united force, so they are going to be a big army that Games Workshop clearly does still care about, with the teaser of the new Lord of Virulence Death Guard model, and Death Guard getting one of the first new codexes. So Death Guard, 99% I'm going to say, will be getting a new starter set. Now, to work out what's in it, we're going to be looking at the structure of starter sets. Now, with the Games Workshop starter sets, they usually can be anything really, but most commonly, and this is what the Space Marines and Thousand Sons have, is they usually will have one HQ, so that will probably be the Lord of Contagion, Lord of Virulence, or the Malignant Playcaster, because for Thousand Sons, Saruman, Space Marines, they've got Terminator, Captain, and then they will usually have some troops. Often these can be 2 squads, but of the same troops, so either to be put in as one 10-man squad or 2 5-man squad, and in addition there will be some sort of elite. Now, of course, for Death Guard, the troops, they are most likely going to be Plague Marines. Now, they could have some Poxwalkers, however, Plague Marines with their 2 wound update are clearly going to become the main troop choice of the Death Guard. And I think Poxwalkers will be considered like how with Thousand Sons, you have the Zangors. They are sort of quite irrelevant, and they're never considered the main troop choice, and they're sort of another thing that you can have in your army if you want some very light horde infantry. And I think that's how they're going to put Poxwalkers. And of course, with Plague Marines getting 2 wounds, they're clearly going to be the focus. So I'm saying for the HQ, they could put Lord of Virulence because that is a new model. However, I think they are more likely to put in the Lord of Contagion. And I think they'll put this over the Malignant Playcaster because although Death Guard is quite good in the Psychic phase, the Psychic phase isn't necessarily the main part of Death Guard, and they're mainly focusing on melee and resilience. Whereas the reason why, let's say, Thousand Sons have a Psyker is because the main focus of their army is Psychic attack, and it's the same with Grey Knights. If they were to get a starter set, they would probably likely also have a Psyker. Now, of course, the infantry, so Plague Marines, 10 Plague Marines might be quite a lot, because of course compared to all the other Marines and Chaos Marines, Plague Marines, they're more expensive, they're more detailed models, and they're going to be quite a lot more points and more valuable in the game, particularly when they are given 2 wounds, and more like an elite troop choice as opposed to an average troop choice, like the tactical Marines that the Space Marines Start Collecting box gets. So because of this, there might not necessarily be 10 Space Marines. So Lord of Contagion is the most likely HQ, with a small chance of there being a Lord of Virulence. Now, with Lord of Contagion, I think there are 2 options. The first option would be to have 7 Plague Marines and a Demon Engine. So this would be of similar value to the Space Marines or the Blood Angels Start Collecting Force, where you have an HQ, you have some decentish troops, and then you have a tank, well, Demon Engine that's a really strong point, because of course Demon Engines, they're quite big with Death Guard. In the Psychic Awakening, they were given a big buff, and it said that the Lord of Virulence will also buff Demon Engines, so they clearly want Demon Engines to be a big part of the Death Guard arsenal. So I think it would be likely that they put a Demon Engine, so that would probably be a Mephitic Blighthauler. And of course it could be a Photo Bloat Drone. Now that is because the Mephitic Blighthauler, well, it's an easy to build kit. You can buy it on its own for only £15, and it's clearly getting quite a few buffs because they've put it down in the points. It's got an extra shot with the multi-melter, with the new FAQs, and they clearly want it to be a better model. It got some new stratagems in the Psychic Awakening, whereas the Photo Bloat Drone didn't get any, and I think it's also quite a bit cheaper for Games Workshop to produce. So I think, although the Photo Bloat Drone was in the Dark Imperium No Fear set, I think if they were to put a Demon Engine, it would likely be the Mephitic Blighthauler, as that also works well in a smaller force. If they want to push forward the ideas of getting combat patrols from just a start collecting box, you're much more likely to have a Mephitic Blighthauler, because it will buff nearby units, and then what you get with this start collecting box, as opposed to just a random blob of units, you get some things that actually work together. And this is of course why they might, and then of course the Lord of Contagion works well with the stratagem that re-rolls ones for nearby units. They can make it so you're getting a more structured army and not just some random units that don't really work together. So I think the first option is Lord of Contagion, probably Lord of Contagion, small chance of Lord of Virulence, 7 Plague Marines, and a Mephitic Blighthauler. Now, of course, they could instead maybe have like 5 Plague Marines and 10 Poxwalkers. However, there's not really any point of having 10 Poxwalkers, and although that's actually quite similar to the Combat Patrol that I've been running recently, I think that it is going to be 7 Plague Marines, because Plague Marines are going to be a big focus. Now, if it were this, I think it would probably be £55 and not £60, so the same amount as the Start Collecting Space Marines box set, because I think that would end up being very similar to that box set. And of course there would be the option to have the Codex in it as well for an extra £25. However, I think it's going to be 55 or 60. It's not going to be any particularly special price. I don't really know. It depends what they really want to do with it. And with that first suggestion that I gave, it would cost about 65 to 70 pounds to get the units individually. So I think, similarly to the other Start Collecting boxes, all of which are very slight discounts by like 5 to 10 pounds, I think the Death Guard one would also be like that, which will further point to the idea of them having 7 Plague Marines, a Lord of Contagion, and a Mephitic Blighthauler. However, there could alternatively be 10 Plague Marines, Lord of Contagion. I think with this one it would definitely be a Lord of Contagion, and a Noxious Blightbringer. Now the reasoning for this is because the Noxious Blightbringer doesn't currently have a kit, and nor does the Lord of Contagion, and I'm not sure if they're going to release all these new kits, and they might put a new Malignant Plaguecaster kit out. How I think if they don't put Lord of Contagion kit, a Noxious Blightbringer kit, and the Malignant Plaguecaster kit, because of course there never was a Lord of Contagion kit previously, despite them being clearly what at least they wanted to be one of the main Death Guard HQ choices. And considering that, I think it would be in the Start Collecting box. So with this Start Collecting box, it would solve 2 of the kits that they currently don't have, Lord of Contagion and the Noxious Blightbringer, and then it would also have 10 Plague Marines. So again, you'd have quite a decent force. It wouldn't be a particularly good force compared to Foul Blight Spawns, Mephitic Blighthaulers, which could be in there, and Tallyman, and will probably be slightly better, but it would still be a decent force, and I think similar to like the Start Collecting Space Marines, but with slightly better troops and not as good an elite. And because of course the Noxious Blightbringer did also get some good buffs in War of the Spider, so they clearly do still also care about that model. Now of course when I say the Noxious Blightbringer, That's because it was in the Dark Imperium box set. However, it could also be one of the other ones. I think like the Foul Blightspawn. The Foul Blightspawn is an extremely strong model, so they might put that in there. However, I think if they were to do this kit, it would be the Noxious Blightbringer. However, again, I'm still going to go back to my original idea that it's most likely going to be a Lord of Contagion, 7 Plague Marines, and a Mephitic Blighthauler. Now, what will this mean for your army? Not particularly much. It will be quite good to start. Death Guard, I think you're always really going to want a Mephitic Blighthauler. And I think if you do have a Death Guard army, it won't be particularly brilliant value. However, of course, if they do put the Lord of Virulence in there, then it might be worth buying. You get some more Plague Marines, you get another Mephitic Blighthauler, and you also get the new HQ, however, if they do put Lord of Contagion, I'm not sure it's going to be worth buying unless you are starting. In which case, if you are starting Death Guard, that would be quite a good collection. Probably just about, I'm not sure how many points Plague Marines will be, but probably just add up to a Combat Patrol. So it will be quite a good starter set and be very good for Death Guard. And I think on top of this, of course, I will quickly talk about the individual kits. So the Malignant Plaguecaster will definitely get an individual kit. I reckon it will probably be about tiny bit less than the Sorcerers to buy, because I have the model. It's a very simple model, so I reckon that will probably be about £15. Noxious Blightbringer, of course, if you go to Death Guard, I'll just quickly show you this now. If you go to Armies of Chaos and Death Guard, all the elites are the same price. Foul Blightspawn, Tallyman, Plague Marine Icon Bearer, Plague Surge, and Biologist Putrefied. They're all 1750, so a Noxious Blightbringer would definitely be that same price, and the Lord of Contagion will probably also be about £20, but I'm not sure whether they are going to release that individually or not. So that is about it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy the speculation. If you have different ideas, feel free to put them in the comments below, and also subscribe, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and also like the video, because if you put on notifications, I will be making videos as soon as there's any information on the new Death Guard Codex, which is going to be really exciting, particularly also on this starter set and the Lord of Virulence rules, anything to do with that new codex. And I'll also put out new video. I'll get the codex as soon as it comes out, put out new videos talking about what I think of it, new tactics, new rules. I'll just update you on everything. So I do hope you enjoy. Make sure to like and subscribe. But for now, bye.